we're just really early. What? I'm not gonna be yelling to get into the nerdy dude stuff IPA advertisement.
Womp womp.
Don't you want 10,000 more?
10,000 clicks? No, I don't give a shit about your clicks.
This is your clicks.
This is live?
Yes.
Anyway, the point I'm kind of making is that this thing is interesting. It has some capabilities and features that I've never seen anywhere. And I'm going to tell a little story now. It's going to be a kind of a tough story. And I want to kind of give you some background about how this can go. And I know this is not going to go this way. So I'm an old guy, right? Anybody that's here knows I'm an old guy. And I'm not going to be around for that much longer. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around in this. I'm not saying I'm like going up to the great reward or anything. I'm saying I'm not going to be working 20-hour days for the next, decade. That's not me. I'm done after a couple, 3, 4, 5 years. And maybe somebody in this crowd will be the person to step up and sort of take over and lead this forward. I don't know, but I started a data storage type company back in 1999. And what happened in 1999 was we were on the same cusp that we're kind of on right now. You couldn't really do video production unless you had $250,000 truck and you had all kinds of crazy equipment and software. And what we came along and did is we built a machine to be able to do it on PCs. I was also an Apple guy, and so we did some of that. And Commodores were out there, and it was what it was. But we built a really good company really quickly because people saw this ability. And we thought we were going to take over independent filmmaking. We thought we were going to take over all these other, areas. Wedding and event videographers. That became like our 80% audience. They were like the whole thing for us. And what happened was really interesting. We got hit by 3 perfect storm items that all came due sort of rapid fire succession. And the first one was a thing we call bad caps. And so these motherboards would just start, the components would start looking like Jiffy Pop popcorn. And you have to replace the whole system. Same thing as what we're doing right now. These systems were all over the world. I had systems at the Boston Red Sox, came back. I had systems at the Marine Corps in Japan, came back, right? A lot of cost. But we dealt with it. We took care of those customers. We did what we needed to do, and we didn't grumble about it, we just did it. We had a second one that came down the pike, and the second one was a little more tricky. It had to do with storage drives. We started selling IBM. They were called Desk Stars, but they ultimately became known as Death Stars, because in a period of about 3 or 4 weeks in Hungary, this factory introduced all this particulate matter into the drives themselves, and literally 100% of those drives that we put in the field failed. And it was like 1,000 drives. Now here was the thing about it. Every system ran on a RAID 0 configuration. So if you lost one drive, you lost all the data on both drives. And typically what would happen is you'd lose the one drive. We knew the other drive was going to fail anyway, so we'd replace it at the same time. Whole bunch of systems came back from all over around the world, right? Crazy stuff, right? But we were okay. We still had a good reputation. We still were driving forward, and we were still pushing this revolution of bringing, this to the masses. And then the last one hit, and this was a motherboard. And what happened with this motherboard was it literally exploded. And motherboards can't explode. You're like saying, well, they don't do that, right? But this little piece of plastic would overload with electricity and just go pow, in a big bright flash. And it was scary, and it was really bad. And ultimately it sunk the company, right? It literally took us down the drain. And I spent a year after that with no revenues coming in. I laid off all my guys, and I spent a year fixing systems for people. Not for any real reason. I mean, if I was really a smart businessman, I would have done the Trump thing right then and there. I would have just bankrupted. I would have just pulled all my debts off on other people, and I would have just said, sorry guys, this is the shit that happens. I didn't do that. I essentially put all of my resources into solving problems for them, okay? And that ethos is exactly the ethos that we are bringing to this project. So when people sort of ask me questions like, how did you assemble this awesome team? I'm like, they get it. They just get it. They see that this is what we're building. And you people that are showing up here that have that, and I can see it in everybody here, right? You people get it. The people that show up in Discord and I tell to go fuck off,
Yes.
they don't get it. They don't get it, right? They aren't gonna be there. They're not gonna be there when the whole thing doesn't, blow sunshine. And those days are coming. There will be some tough days ahead. There will be some days ahead where things are not going exactly right. You might not all know this. We've already made 55 machines. We've already brought back 55 machines from all over the fucking world, right? It's been crazy hard. It's been expensive as hell. But at the end of the day, it wasn't even, we didn't even think twice about it. We just said, we got to do it, we'll do it. And we did it. And what I see in all of you folks is that same ethos. And if you're on board with that, right? If you're behind that, then asking questions like when the date is going to come, that's just all irrelevant nonsense. Because this is a subscription model that could last you guys all the rest of your lives, right? You could be building these units out and have like a big McDonald's franchise with 38 restaurants. The only thing is your restaurants are little Exxon miners that are scattered all around your city, and they're just bringing in revenue that you don't ever have to go to. It's like owning a bunch of real estate and all you own is a bunch of little boxes that are this big, right? They may have 3, 4, 5, 600 terabytes in them. Who knows at that time? That's really the deal. So what ended up happening in that story, I'll just tell you this, because I want sort of everybody to grok this. And it doesn't have a happy ending, okay? It didn't have a happy ending. I ended up in a hospital here in Nevada, actually, because I finally just, I collapsed. Because I was doing what I'm doing right now. I was working 20-hour days, just crazy, nonstop, letting the stress just eat me up, do all sort of stuff, and just never stopping, just always full tilt straight forward. So all I'm really telling you this story is because I want you to understand that what I'm doing right now, I'm not doing for money. I'm doing to make up that thing. I'm doing to make up for that one that already happened. You're saying, but Faust, you're working 20 hours a week, you're going to be nuts, you're getting stressed. You guys don't fucking get it. I am having the most fun I have ever had in my entire life. When I'm arguing with some idiot in Discord who just doesn't get it, I'm laughing, I'm spit taking on my monitor. People are calling me angry and I'm like, what the fuck? Come on. And that is really the joy of this thing. This thing that we're building is important. This thing that we're building, we're right next to the guys sort of defined the model right now. We can see them, they got a big giant booth. He's building big dick-shaped rockets so he can fly up into the universe with William Shatner. And it's like the silliest shit you can even think of. But his idea sucks. And our idea wins. Our idea wins, and it wins because of you. It's you. And it will always be. It's not us, it's you. And we will never forget that. And so I just want to say on behalf of all my team that we are really grateful that you guys are all here and you're sticking with it. You're going to run this thing all the way through its course. And that you've done a great job so far building these things and keeping them reliable. The stats that we're showing right now are amazing, they're crazy. And every week I see 200 people show up for these Thursday meetings. I'm like, what the heck? You think they would have got tired by now, right? No, man, you guys are in it. You're in it for the long term. And our job is to essentially validate your faith. Faith is so huge in this thing, and we're going to validate it. Come to the booth, get the software demo, see the relayer. I got to tell you, I designed this thing in 2018, right? I can show you the piece of paper I wrote it down on. But it was 3 weeks ago when I finally saw it that I realized, holy shit, this thing works. And it does. Come see it. Come to the booth and see it. And when you do, the next thing that you need to start thinking about is, how do I get in the place where I start provisioning relayers? Because that's where the other side of the income stream is going to come from, right? When you can tell people you trust and who trust you about storage that they can upload onto our network, and that means onto your network, right? You get it both ways. You get it incoming, you get it outgoing. That is really, really powerful. So that's it. I just want to have a little talk with y'all. I wanted you to see me in person. I wanted you to know I'm not like some crazy roaring asshole who just likes to eat children. I'll do it, but I don't like it. But I love all of you. Write your Discord name on your badge.
Yeah.
That way I can know whether to ignore you. All right. We've got about another hour here. Plenty of alcohol to drink, a little bit more food. Have fun.
Cool.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.